What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here, back with another Classic WoW video for Season of Discovery. I'm gonna start this off by giving out a massive spoiler warning, so if you wanna go into Phase 2 completely blind, this is not the video for you. We're going to be going through some brand new runes in the new patch for the PTR build for Season of Discovery, containing some runes coming out in Phase 2. I should also start by saying that Agrand and the Blizzard developer team has confirmed that not everything you will see on data mines will actually be in Phase 2. Some of these things were thrown in to test things out, and there's a big possibility not all these runes will be there, but definitely some of them will be. If I had to guess, I'm guessing 80% of them will end up being in the real patch, and 20% might be throwaways. Also, if you want to make some gold in Phase 2, I do have a gold making guide for Phase 2 as well, where there's going to be 10 videos in early access before Phase 2 comes out, giving you the best gold farms and the best gold making options for Phase 2. With that being said, let's take a look at this. The title of this video, the actual thumbnail, should also give you the idea that there's a big spoiler warning here. There's no spoilers if you want to go in blind. Once again, click away. Go away before we keep going. Okay, so here we have some brand new runes. We're going to read through them. Let's start with the most played class, right? Warriors. For warriors, we have engraved belts. So based on this, we can see we have belt, boots, pants and bracers, and even helm. So we can see there's a bunch of them here. Now, not every one of these will probably make it to the game. I don't think we'll see that many things coming in one phase, like we had 3 in Phase 1. I think we'll have 2 or 3 in Phase 2, so we have engraved belt, engraved boots, engraved pants, bracers. It looks like, based on what I'm seeing here, the pants might be the wrong one, like pants might not be a thing, but we'll have to wait and see, right? So engraved belt, blood surge. Engrave your belt with the blood surge rune, heroic strike, bloodthirst and whirlwind have a 30% chance to make your next slam within 15 seconds, instant, and cost no rage. That's the one that we saw at the preview video as well, so this one is pretty likely to get in there. Then we have focus rage, reduces the cost of your offensive abilities by 3. We have precise timing, slam is now instant, but has a 6-second cooldown. Enraged regen, oh my days, heals you for 30% of your maximum health over 10 seconds, but can only be used while enraged, berserker rage or blood rage is active. Then we have intervene, run at a high speed towards a party member, intercepting the next melee or range attack made against them, as well as reducing the total threat by 10%. We have rallying cry, let loose a rallying cry, granting all party and raid members within 40 yards 15% increased maximum health for 10 seconds. We have commanding shout, the warrior shouts, increasing the stamina of all party members within 30 yards by 2, lasts for 2 minutes. We then have rampage for the bracers. Warrior goes on a rampage, increasing attack power by 2% and causing most successful melee attacks to increase attack power by an additional 2%. This effect will stack up to 5 times, so 10%, lasts 30 seconds. This ability can only be used after scoring a critical hit. Then we have sword and board. That is a really cool name for a rune, I'm going to put it that way. When your devastate and revenge abilities deal damage, they have a 30% chance of refreshing the cooldown of your shield slam ability and reducing its rage cost by 100% for 5 seconds. Then we have wrecking crew. Your melee critical hits enrage you, increasing all physical damage done by 10% for 12 seconds, and it does not stack with enrage. We have shield mastery, increases all physical damage you deal by 10% while you have a shield equipped, and reduces the duration of all disarm effects used against you by 50%. This one does not stack with other disarm duration reducing effects. We then have taste for blood. Whenever your rend ability causes damage, your overpower ability will activate for 9 seconds or 1 attack. This effect will not occur more than once every 6 seconds. And the last one we have here is vigilance. Focus your protective gaze on a party or raid member, reducing their damage taken by 3% and transferring 10% of the threat they cause to you. In addition, every time they are hit by an attack, your taunt cooldown is now refreshed, and this one lasts for 30 minutes. Next up we have the Paladin. Engraved belt, enlightened judgment, increases the range of your judgments by 30 yards and your spell hit with all spells by 17%. Infusion of light increases the damage done by your holy shock by 20%, and your damaging critical strikes with holy shock reset the cooldowns on holy shock and exorcism and refunds the cost of holy shock. So Shokugin is making a comeback, boys. This is going to be great. Then we have Shield of Light. This is one that we saw during the preview. Dealing damage with your melee weapon increases your spell power by an amount equal to 30% of your attack power for 1 minute. In addition, your critical healing spells heal the target for 60% of the healed amount for 60 seconds. Engrave Boot, Guarded by the Light. Every time you hit a target with your melee weapon, you gain 5% of your maximum mana per 3 seconds for 15 seconds, but the amount healed by your Flash of Light, Holy Light, and Holy Shock spells is reduced by 50% or cut in half during this mana regeneration. Then we have Sacred Shield, really good. I'm loving these runes, man. Every time the target takes damage, they gain a Sacred Shield, absorbing 500 damage and increasing the Paladin's chance to critical hit with Flash of Light by 50% for up to 6 seconds. In addition, causes your Flash of Light to heal targets with Sacred Shield for an additional 100% over 12 seconds. Then we have the Art of War. Your melee critical strikes reset the cooldown of Holy Shock and Exorcism. Improved Hammer of Wrath. The cooldown on Hammer of Wrath is reset every single time it deals damage on an enemy below 10% health. Purifying Power, reducing the cooldown on Exorcism and Holy Wrath by 50%. And Holy Wrath can now be cast at any target and will stun undead and demon targets for 2 seconds. Basically the same thing as Exorcism, yeah? So we have Purifying Power times 2, then we have Fanaticism, hopefully I said that correctly, increases your critical strike chance with holy spells by 18%, really building into that Shokugin fantasy right there. Improved Sanctuary, increases the damage prevented by your Blessing of Sanctuary by 100%, and increases the damage done by your Blessing of Sanctuary by 30% of your shield block value. Then we have Light Grace, your Holy Light spell reduces the cast time of your next Holy Light spell by half a second. And lastly, we have Wrath. Your Consecration damage can now be critical strikes, and damage from your Exorcism, Holy Shock, Holy Wrath, and Consecration spell now gains additional critical strike chance equal to your melee critical strike chance. Okay, that could be really good. Imagine that for a tank, man. Or like any paladin, to be honest. Then we have the Hunter aspect of the Viper. The Hunter takes on the aspect of the Viper, causing your ranged and melee auto attacks to regenerate mana but reducing your total damage done by 10%. In addition, you gain 10% of maximum mana every 3 seconds. Mana gain is then based on the speed of your weapon. Only one aspect can be active at a time. We have Expose Weakness. That sounds like a survival or melee hunter thing, but holy, your melee and range critical strikes increase your attack power by 40% of your current agility for 7 seconds. Here's the thing. That does not say ranged attack power or melee, so this one could be used for both melee hunters or marksmanship hunters as well. Melee or range doesn't really matter too much. Huh. That sounds insane. Yeah. That actually sounds insane. Melee Specialist Raptor Strike cooldown reduced to 3 seconds and is now instant. Mongoose Bite cooldown has been removed and Raptor Strike has a 30% chance on every single attack to not trigger the cooldown. Then we have Steady Shot, a shot that causes 60% ranged weapon damage. We have Dual Wield Specialization, increases the damage done by your offhand weapon by 50%, causes your Raptor Strike to strike with both weapons when you are dual wielding, and Raptor Strike deals 30% increased damage when you are wielding 2 weapons of the same type. The melee hunter meta, dude. It's gonna be insane. Invigoration. When your pet scores a critical hit with a special ability, you instantly regenerate 5% of your maximum mana. We then have Trap Launcher. Your traps can now be launched or placed at any location within 40 yards, and can now be placed while you're in combat. Additionally, your fire-based and frost-based traps now have separate shared cooldowns. Then we have Focus Fire, consumes all applications of Frenzy from your pet, increasing your range attack speed by 3% and granting 4 focus to your pet for every single application of Frenzy that has been consumed. Your pet gains Frenzy every time it uses a basic attack, increasing its melee attack speed by 6% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So you can have a maximum of 5 stacks here of Frenzy, and you can consume those stacks for a personal buff for you and your pet. Then you have Improved Bracer, a TNT, increases the damage done by explosive shot and all your damaging traps by 10%. For rogues, we have Poisoned Knife. Instantly throw your offhand weapon to deal normal offhand weapon damage with a 10% chance to apply the poison from your offhand weapon to the target, awards 1 combo point. We also have Shadow Step, attempts to step through the shadows and reappear behind your enemy and increases movement speed by 70% for 2 seconds. We already have the Shadow Strike, don't we? Isn't that the name? That's basically Shadow Step, but Shadow Strike. Either way, we also have Shuriken Toss, throws a shuriken at your enemy, dealing damage equal to 25% of your attack power, and also strikes up to 4 nearby targets. In addition, we have Master of Subtlety, attacks made while stealthed and for 6 seconds after breaking stealth, causes 10% more damage. We have Waylay, your ambush and backstab hits unbalance your target, increasing the time between their melee attacks by 10% and reducing their movement speed by 50% for 8 seconds. We have Combat Potency, you have a 20% chance to gain 15 energy every time you deal melee damage with your offhand weapon. For focus attacks, you gain 2 energy every time you deal a melee or range critical strike. And then lastly, we have Honor Among Thieves. When any player in your party critically hits with a spell or ability, you gain a combo point on your current target. This effect cannot occur more than once every second. Then we have for the priest Empowered Renew. Your Renew now heals 1 extra time immediately when applied and gains 15% increased benefit every time it heals from your bonus healing effect. In addition, your Renew can now be active on targets affected by... Oh yes, so you can have multiple priests using Renew now on the same target. The way it worked in phase 1 was that whoever had the most spell power basically overwrote the other one, which was really annoying. Now next up we have Mind Spike, blasting the target for Shadow Frost damage and increasing the critical strike chance of your next Mind Blast on the target by 30%, stacking up to 3 times. Then we have Renewed Hope. Your heals from Flash Heal, Lesser Heal, basically all your healing abilities, have 10% chance, increasing critical effect chance, when cast on targets with Weakened Soul. Dispersion, you disperse into pure shadow energy, reducing all damage taken by 90%. Sounds absolutely busted in PvP, by the way. You are unable to attack or cast spells, but you regenerate a lot of mana, 6% to be exact, every 1 second for 6 seconds, so 36% mana. Dispersion can be cast while stunned, feared, or silenced, and clears all snare and movement impairing effects when cast, and makes you immune to them while dispersed. We then have Pain Suppression, instantly What did I just say? Instantly reduces all damage taken by a friendly target by 40% and increases resistance to the spell mechanics by 65% for 8 seconds. We then have Rolling with the Punches. That sounds really interesting. Each time you dodge or parry, you gain 6% increased health, stacking up to 5 times. Are we gonna see Tank Priest? Melee Priest? Okay, no, let's keep reading. No way. Why would you dodge and parry? Okay, Spirit of the Redeemer. Activate to become the Spirit of Redemption for 30 seconds. While in this form you can cast any healing spell free of cost, but you cannot move, attack, be attacked, or be targeted by any spell or effect. Requires Spirit of Redemption talent to activate, and you will no longer enter Spirit of Redemption upon dying. So you can go into Spirit of the Redeemer instead, and don't have to die. To activate Angel form, periodic damage from your spells can now be critical strikes, Hued for Shadow. Critical spell cast cause your next Smite, Heal, Flash Heal or Binding Heal cast within 15 seconds to be instant cast. We then have Void Zone. Summons a Void Zone in the target area that deals X amount of shadow damage to any enemy that stands within it every second for 10 seconds. Huh? That's like Mind Flay, but without the Mind Flay. It's just Flay. That's insane. Okay, Divine Ages. Critical heals create a protective barrier or shield on the target, absorbing 30% of the amount healed. Okay, great. Shadow Fiend creates a Shadowy Fiend to attack the target, and the caster then receives 5% mana when the Shadow Fiend attacks, and lasts for 15 seconds. So you get mana back plus DPS increase. Then we get Fire Nova. Oh my days, your Fire Nova totem spell is replaced with Fire Nova, which causes your current fire totem to emit damage at its location. We then have Maelstrom weapons. When you deal damage with a melee attack, you have a chance to reduce the cast time of your next lightning bolt, chain lightning, lesser healing wave, chain heal, or lava burst spell by 20%, stacks up to 5 times to a instant cast, and it lasts for 30 seconds. We then have Power Surge. Every time Flame Shock deals damage, it has a 5% chance to reduce the cooldown on lava burst and chain lightning, and make the next lava burst, chain heal, or chain lightning within 10 seconds, to be instant cast. Holy. Next up we have the Ancestral Awakening. When you critically hit with your healing wave or lesser healing wave, you summon an ancestral spirit to aid you, instantly healing the lowest percentage health party member within 40 yards for 30% of the amount healed. You have Decoy Totem. Summons a Decoy Totem for 10 seconds with 5 health at the feet of the target that will redirect the next melee or range attack made against the target to the totem instead. What is that name? There's a name for that totem back from retail, or like Wrath or something, I can't remember, but that's huge, man. So the totem also grants the target immunity to movement impairing effect for 10 seconds. We also have Spirit of the Alpha, infuses the target with the spirit of an alpha wolf, increasing all threat generated by the target for 45% for 30 minutes, limits to 1 target. Two-handed mastery. Every time you strike an enemy with a two-handed weapon, you gain 30% attack speed with two-handed weapons for 10 seconds. Now, what we can see here is that the Shamans have a lot less than everything else, like every other class, in terms of their runes. So I don't know, that's interesting to me. I think it's only belt, boots, and for some reason 1 on the chest, right, coming for Shamans, which makes me think that all the others that we're seeing, like we had bracers for example, why don't we have any bracers for the Shaman? Makes me think that maybe all the bracer runes were meant for phase 3 and they're just put into the patch, because Shamans literally have no bracer runes. Or they're coming later, we just don't know, right? Now for the mage, Engrave Belt, Frostfire Bolt. Launches a bolt of Frostfire at the enemy, causing Frostfire damage, slowing movement speed by 40%, and causing even more Frostfire damage over 9 seconds. This spell will be checked against the lower of the target's Frost and Fire resist, and count as both Frost and Fire damage. We also have Hot Streak. Oh my days, okay. Anytime you score 2 non-periodical spell criticals in a row using Fireball, Fire Blast, Scorch, or Living Bomb, your next Pyroblast spell cast within 10 seconds will be instant cast. We have Missile Barrage, gives your Arcane Blast a 40% chance, and your Fireball and Frostbolt spells a 20% chance to reduce the channeled duration of your next Arcane Missile spell by 50%, and reduce the cooldown, or the mana cost by 100%, and the missiles will fire every half a second. Now we also have a data mined ability called Spell Frostbolt, and instead of reading what that does, it's basically Frostfire, but instead of being Frost and Fire, it is in this case Frost and Arcane. Sounds really weird that we're gonna have both of those, so maybe that's a mistake, but yeah, I don't know. We have Frostfire and Spell Frost. Then we have Brain Freeze. Your frost damage spells with chilling effects have a 15% chance to cause your next Fireball, Spell Frostbolt, or Frostfire Bolt spells to be instant cast and cost no mana as well. We then have Chronostatic Preservation. This one is really weird and really interesting, but you can basically fuse arcane, fire, and frost magic to freeze chronomatic energy into a stored state for later use. You can hold this energy for up to 15 seconds before it combusts and expires. Now, when you use it on someone, it heals the target for X amount of healing. Well, a bunch of math there, and the spell is considered arcane, fire, and frost for interactions with other spells, talents, and effects, which is pretty massive. We also have another bolt, so we have Frostfire Bolt, we have Spellfire Bolt, and we have Balefire Bolt. This one is fire and frost. It's the same thing, but fire and frost. We have Displacement, teleports you back to where you last cast Blink from, and resets the cooldown on Blink, only usable within 10 seconds of casting Blink. Then we have Molten Armor. Fire damage causes X amount of fire damage when hit, increasing your spell critical strike chance by 5%, which is really massive, since we're also getting hot streak, so we need to have critical strike. That is pretty good, so 5%, and reducing the chance that you are critically hit by 5% as well. Now we also have Deep Freeze, stuns the target for 5 seconds, only usable on frozen targets, and deals X amount of damage to targets permanently immune to stun. We have Temporal Anomaly, launches an orb of temporal energy which slowly moves forward and every 2 seconds grants all nearby party members a shield absorbing X amount of damage for 15 seconds. We also have something called Spell Power, increases critical strike chance damage bonus of all spells by 50%. I'm wondering if that's going to be there. That sounds really like experimental to me and shouldn't really be there, but hey, if it is, I'm not gonna complain. Now this is a 20-minute video at this point, but stick with me, we only have 2 more classes to go through. The most fun to, if you ask me, is my main and my alt. So Warlock. Engrave Belt, Grimoire of Synergy, recite from a dark tome, granting damage done by you and your summoned, done by you or your summoned demon a 5% chance to increase the damage done by the other one by 5% for 15 seconds, and recitation lasts for 30 minutes, oh my days. Then we have Invocation, Refreshing Corruption, Immolate, Curse of Agony, or Siphon Life. When it has less than 6 seconds duration, remaining will cause you to deal instant damage to the target equal to 1 period, or like periodic tick, of that spell's damage. You also have Shadow and Flame, your critical strikes with fire and shadow spells increase your fire and shadow damage done by 10% for 10 seconds. You have Dance of the Wicked, you and your pet, your demon pet gain dodge chance equal to your spell critical strike chance each time you deal a critical strike chance to an enemy, and also both regain 2% of maximum mana. That could be insane for tanks. Demonic Knowledge increases your spell damage and healing by a value equal to 10% of your demon's pet's total stamina plus intellect. You also have Shadow Flame, targets in a cone in front of the caster take X amount of shadow damage, and even more damage, in fire damage this case, over 8 seconds. This effect can be consumed with Conflagrate. Then we have Immolation Aura, okay, burns nearby enemies for X amount of fire damage every 2 seconds and reduces all magic damage taken by 10%. Oh, yes, finally we have AoE, we have real big boy AoE. Imagine Lake of Fire into this, like Lake of Fire into Immolation Aura into Hellfire. Oh my days, dude, that's gonna be insane. Then we have Summon Felguard, summons a Felguard under the command of the Warlock. The Felguard benefits from all talents and effects that trigger from or benefit from any of your demon minions. We have Unstable Affliction, Shadow Energy slowly destroys the target, dealing X amount of damage over time, over 15 seconds. In addition, if it is dispelled, it will cause even more damage to the dispeller and silence them for 5 seconds. This one is huge in PvE, PvP by the way. If you've been playing a Warlock, it's so good to have in PvP, because now nobody wants to dispel your damage over times, but when we don't have this, everyone just dispels everything we do, so we do no damage. Then we have Backdraft, your Conflagrate ability also grants 30% spellcasting haste for 10 seconds, which is going to be absolutely mental for destruction. Big thumbs up, I can't wait to play the Warlock now. Then we have Pandemic, periodic damage from your Corruption, Unstable Affliction, Curse of Agony, Immolate, Curse of Doom and Siphon Life abilities can now be critical strikes. I'm just gonna put it out there, dude, all of these abilities right here, the runes, they look absolutely great. They've gone over the top and just made the classes look so fun. I don't know how it, I don't know, dude. I feel like they did so much in phase 1, but in phase 2 they're doing just as much. For Druids though, we have Berserk, the first one. We're starting off with Berserk, really. Okay, when activated, this ability causes your Mangle Bear ability to hit up to 3 targets and have no cooldown, and reduces the energy cost of all your cat form abilities by 50%. This one, the ability itself, lasts for 15 seconds, requires bear form, cat form, or dire bear form to activate, clears the effects of fear, and makes you immune to fear for the duration. Then we have Eclipse. Starfire increases the critical strike chance of your next 2 rats by 30%, and Wrath also increases the critical strike chance of your next Starfire by 30%. Both effects stacking up to 4 charges. Both spells also gain 70% chance at all times to not lose casting time when you take damage. For healers, you have Nourish, heals a friendly target for X amount of healing, and it heals for an additional 10 to 20% if you have a Rejuvenation, Regrowth, Life Bloom, or Wild Growth, basically a heal over time, active on the target. This spell benefits from and triggers all effects associated with Healing Touch. Then we have Dream State. Your damaging spell critical strikes grants you 50% of your mana regen while casting for 8 seconds, and increased nature damage dealt to the target by 20% for 12 seconds. We have King of the Jungle. Tiger's Fury now increases all physical damage you deal by 15% instead of by a flat value, and instantly grants you 60 energy. It is no longer on the global cooldown, but it now has a 30-second cooldown. This one is so good. It's so good. Oh, Feral dude. It's looking so awesome. We also have Survival Instinct. When activated, this grants you 30% of your maximum health for 20 seconds. After the effect expires, the health is lost and is usable in any form. In addition, you'd regenerate 5 rage every time you dodge while in bear form or dire bear form, 10 energy while in cat form, or 1% of your maximum mana while in any other form. You have Efflorescence. Your Swiftmend now also causes Efflorescence, healing all party members within 15 yards of the Swiftmend target's location for X amount of healing every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. Basically just a massive AoE heal over time. It's absolutely great. We have improved Frenzied Regeneration. Your Frenzied Regen can now be used in all forms or while not shapeshifted. It now converts your active resource into health every second for 10 seconds. Up to 10 rage, 10 energy or 5% base mana is converted per second into up to 10% health. We have for the Helm slot, we have Gale Winds. Increases the damage done by a hurricane by 100%. It no longer has a cooldown, and its mana cost is reduced by 20%. Boomkin AoE dream, dude. We also have Gore, striking a target with Lacerate, I think it's Lacerate. Swipe or Maul has a 15% chance to reset the cooldown on Mangle Bear. Striking a target with Mangle Cat or Shred has a 5% chance to reset the cooldown on Tiger's Fury. Then lastly, we have improved Barkskin. Your Barkskin can now be cast on allies, no longer penalizes melee combat speed or spellcasting time, and can be cast while shapeshifted. These are absolutely massive, dude. Like, so absolutely massive. So many class changes coming, and once again I just want to reiterate that we might not end up seeing all of these, but yeah, it's just so good, dude. If I had to put my money on seeing anything here, I would say we're gonna see the belt and the boots, maybe even the helm. So like, boots and belt are pretty much guaranteed if you ask me, then anything else is kind of questionable, but we'll have to wait and see. There's a couple more things that I just want to scroll through really quick here. Is quality of life skill books coming as well in phase 2 that will help you play your class, and I'm not going to read through these because the video is already 27 minutes long, so I'm just going to scroll through them. You can take a look at your class. Druid, for example, they get longer Mark of the Wild and mana duration reduced. Revive, so you can just revive someone without having to use your seed and like combat res. Everbloom, you can go to Hunter, you have Aspect of the Viper. Mages have longer intellect buffs. Paladin finally have longer blessings. Priests also have longer powered fortitude and a lot less mana required to buff people, and it's just like a bunch of quality of life. Warlocks, for example, they have Portal of Summoning. No more summoning people one by one, we have actual portals now. That's going to be absolutely great. So just a bunch of quality of life changes, and those are all the runes and the books that are coming so far in phase 2. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about everything? Those are some massive news, man. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think. I'm gonna keep doing these videos, but I'm going to be labeling them as a spoiler warning, so like, if you're interested in knowing things before phase 2 comes out, at least you know what you're getting. Because for me, I don't mind knowing about things, I just don't want to know where to get the runes. I want to have the discovery aspect of finding the runes on my own, but I want to know what to expect. Either way, let me know in the comments down below, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, let me know if you stayed until the end, subscribe for more Season of Discovery content, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.